Hi, my name is Paulette, and today we will be looking at why I believe capital punishment to be a wrong, lethal act. It breaches human right, it is expensive, it is a slow process, and mistakes can be made. Now, would you want to be the person that pulls the switch that takes the life of another human being? Certainly not. Unlike prison sentences, the death penalty is irreversible and irreparable. Though legal in some countries as punishment for serious crimes, it does not make it right. If we intend to punish wrongdoers, why not simply replace it with life imprisonment? So criminals are severely restricted and made to live the rest of their lives behind bars. As you listen, you might think to yourself, today is really not the day I want to hear how wrong it is for a person to be put to death. The memory of the loss of a loved one, the violent crime resurfaced. So too the pain and hurt you have felt. But just think for a moment and ask yourself this question. How would I want to be treated if I had taken the life of another or had been wrongfully accused of murder? Now, Pope John Paul II, during his 26 years as leader of the Roman Catholic Church, states that a sign of hope is the increasing recognition that the dignity of human life must never be taken away, even in the case of someone who has done great evil. And in an article published by Amnesty International on www.amnesty.org, it says that 27 years after abolishing the death penalty, Canada saw a 44% drop in murders across the country. Let's look at how expensive it is. In a research by the US government in Washington, it was found that each death penalty case cost an average of $1 million more than a similar case where the death penalty was not sought. The cost to sustain expenses associated with death penalty cases in the US varies, and these costs are covered by taxes. A case study conducted by Lewis and Clark Law School and Seattle University reveals that without the death cases without the death penalty cost $740,000, while cases where the death penalty is sought cost $1.26 million. And maintaining each death row prisoner costs taxpayers $90,000 more per year than a prisoner in general population. Why is it a slow process and one that can take years for a person on death row to be executed? A contributory factor is the years and years of appeal that can take place. Many appeals stem from complaints that the public defenders were poorly funded. They were without access to the investigators, access to psychiatrists and other experts who could help mount a credible defense. As of April 1, 2017, there are 2,843 inmates on death row in the US alone. Almost all defendants who faces capital charges cannot afford an attorney, and they rely on the state to appoint one for them. Now, if you should execute one inmate each day, it would take years to empty all the death row cells. Let's look at how mistake can be made. This can happen wherein the mishandling of DNA evidence, racial discrimination, and mentally disabled or ill or innocent ones are poorly represented by the courts and put to death. Take, for example, Kirk Bloodsworth of Maryland, who was convicted in 1984 and sentenced to death for the rape and murder of a young girl. Now, despite alibi witnesses, he was convicted primarily on the basis of faulty eyewitness identification. When it was discovered that the state failed to disclose exculpatory evidence, Bloodsworth received a new trial at which he was convicted and given a life sentence. He was released after subsequent DNA testing confirmed his innocence and cleared him of the crime. Now that we have looked at how expensive it is, how slow a process it is, and how mistakes can be made, it is time to take action to protect the human rights of those convicted. Not saying that they should not be punished, but restrict them, keep them behind bars, and rehabilitate those who can be rehabilitated. We need to return to community policing, hold police and prosecutors responsible for deliberate misconduct, Pay attention to injustices and speak out. Keep society safe and protect the general well being of society.